Hey, what's up? My name is Ange. Welcome back to my channel, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about 25 books that I want to read in 2025. Starting off with the coffee of the video, today we have a large iced sugar cookie almond milk latte with sugar cookie cold foam. They did forget the sprinkles, but all around it is still really good. Very good. We also have my Java stock here, the one that was kept in the car, so this is what we are using today. Let me pull up my Notion page with all of my books that I want to read. Just a kind of a disclaimer, most of these books have books after, so a lot of them are like series and stuff, but I didn't want to put like an entire series on the list, like I want to read this book and then this book and then this book, so I have a lot of first in the series or next in the series. That also means that I do want to continue on. I only wanted to put the first one on there. I don't want to say just like the whole series. This video in no way, shape, or form is it like in an order of like most important to least important. I did put the new releases up at like the top just so we can get those kind of out of the way, and then other ones kind of just as they were thought about and in some sort of order. I screenshotted what all of these books are about, so they're all in here. The very first book that I want to read is Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. This is a new release, so this one comes out on January 14th. I read Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney and I absolutely loved it. So this one is it is a gripping and deliciously dark thriller about marriage and revenge. Author Grady Green is having the worst day of his life. Grady calls his wife to share some exciting news as she is driving home. He hears Abby slam on the brakes, get out of the car, then nothing. When he eventually finds her car by the cliff edge, the headlights are on, the driver door is open, her phone is still there, but his wife has disappeared. A year later, Grady is still overcome with grief and desperate to know what happened to Abby. He can't sleep and he can't write, so he travels to a tiny Scottish island to try to get his life back on track. Then he sees the impossible, a woman who looks exactly like his missing wife. Wives think their husbands will change, but they don't. Husbands think their wives won't change, but they do. I absolutely loved Rock, Paper, Scissors. I held on to that book for a very long time before I actually read it. I know that it was like extremely popular, but I had never picked it up. So when I actually did, I was like, oh, that's amazing. So I'm very excited for this. I think I will be buying this like literally on release day so that I can read it immediately. Next, I love Freida McFadden. I actually just finished one of her books, The Gift, yesterday. So next up is The Crash by Freida McFadden. This book comes out on January 28th. Also, we'll probably be reading it like literally that day. This one, it says, the nightmare she's running from is nothing compared to where she's headed. Tegan is 8 months pregnant, alone, and desperately wants to put her crumbling life in the rearview mirror. So she hits the road, planning to stay with her brother until she can figure out her next move. But she doesn't realize she's heading straight into a blizzard. She never arrives at her destination. Stranded in rural Maine with a dead car and a broken ankle, Tegan worries she's made a terrible mistake. Then a miracle, she is rescued by a couple who offers her a room in their warm cabin until the snow clears. Scary, don't do that. But something isn't right. Tegan believes she was waiting out the storm, but as time ticks by, she comes to realize she is in grave danger. This safe haven isn't what she thought it was, and staying here may have been her worst deadly mistake yet. And now she must do whatever it takes to save herself and her unborn child. A gut-wrenching story of motherhood, survival, and twisted expectations. I am scared, but it's gonna be really good. So I am like excited because I love Freida McFadden books. I don't know if there has been a book that I was like, ugh, I didn't like that. I feel like there were always ones where I was like, okay, well, that was amazing, or okay, I didn't love that, like I saw it coming, or that one was kind of like not the best plot twist, but I'm very excited because all like the recent books I've been loving. Next, I want to read Watch Me by, please excuse me if I'm reading this incorrectly, Tahara Maffei. I'm sorry, I don't know. This author wrote the Shatter Me series, so in the Shatter Me universe, this is going to be the New Republic #1, so it takes place in the same one, and this releases on April 15th, which I'm so excited about. I am probably going to read this immediately as well, and I want to read the Shatter Me series over again before I read this, although it's going to be quick because I think I literally flew through all of those books and the novellas. Watch Me is in the Shatter Me universe, the first book in a new series set 10 years after the fall of the Reestablishment. James Anderson had a plan, or half of one. All that matters is that he managed to do what his older brother, the famous Aaron Warner Anderson, never did: infiltrate Ark Island, the last refugee of the Reestablishment. In the past decade, no outsider has breached the stronghold of the authoritarian regime, but James is in. In a prison cell, sure, but as far as James is concerned, a win is a win. It's been 10 years since the fall of the Reestablishment. 10 years since the notorious duo, Juliet Ferrers, I never knew how to say her name, and Aaron Warner Anderson, led a worldwide rebellion and established the New Republic of the West. But after a decade of unsettling quiet, The reestablishment is ready to make a devastating move, and they have the perfect person for the job. Rosabelle Wolf had a plan. She always has a plan. On Ark Island, where constant surveillance is packaged as security, even emotions must be experienced with caution. A trained assassin, her every movement is monitored by synthetic intelligence, and when she's given an order to kill, she never hesitates. Brimming with pulse-pounding action and torturous romance, Watch Me is an explosive journey through a dystopian landscape where enemies to lovers has never felt more impossible. Step into a beloved and breathtaking world that demands an answer to a desperate question. Who are we when no one is watching? I'm so excited. I'm so excited for that. That one... My God, I literally can't wait for that one. Next, I really want to read Rewind It Back by Liz Tomford, which is Windy City #5. This release date is May 20th, and there is nothing on Goodreads on what the book is about. I probably should have looked elsewhere, or unless it's not released yet. This one is about Rio and Hallie. Very excited for that one. I loved the Windy City series. I also believe this is the last book in the series, but I could be wrong. I don't know if more are coming out, but I love the Windy City series. So good. Next, I want to read Burn Bright by Krista and Becca Ritchie, which is Cobalt Empire #1. So if you don't know, I am a huge Krista and Becca Ritchie fan. I read the Addicted and Calloway Sisters series together. I read the Bad Reputation duet, loved it. I am in the middle of reading the Like Us series. I think I read 4 books so far, so I'm about to start book 5. The Cobalt series is about the Cobalt children, so the Cobalt Empire. You have Rose and Connor, Reich and Daisy. You have Lily and Lo. So it's all their kids. It's the Like Us series, and then we jump on over to the Cobalt Empire, which I guess is going to be about more of like the younger kids. The Like Us series mostly focuses on Maximoff, Jane, Sully, and Luna. I feel like there's a couple more of them sprinkled on in there, but I'm pretty sure that it focuses mostly on those 4. I could be wrong though. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know. I don't really read all the other books ahead of time to know whose book is really whose until I get there. So anyway, I do want to read Burn Bright again. Cobalt Empire #1. The release date is September 2nd, so it's very, very far away, but I'll be there waiting for it. And it really doesn't say much about it. It just says that Ben Cobalt moves to New York for the first time. Called there by his 4 older brothers in a new series about legacy, loyalty, and love. Love burns hottest when it's blue. I'm just excited because Rose and Connor were always my favorite, so I'm so excited. That one's gonna be so great. So that ends like all like the new releases that I could think of that I'm really excited to read. So now let's get into the books that are actually out that I haven't gotten to yet. Next one is Fall With Me by Becca Mack, and this one is book #4 in the Playing for Keeps series. And it says, it was supposed to be a one-night stand, but what if they can't leave it in the past? Jackson Riley is exceptional at 3 things: starting fights on the ice, picking up women post-game, and going home to fulfill his role as the world's best cat dad. Relationships unfortunately missed the list. Lennon Hayes is supposed to be on her honeymoon. Instead, she's alone and single, vacationing next door to a surly, tattooed man who ran his date off the resort. When a run-in at the bar results in a night of bickering and cocktails, she finds herself tumbling into bed with the enemy next door, then sneaking out before the sun comes up. Lennon's plan is to start over in a new city is going great until she starts her new job. The job? The Vancouver Vipers' new photographer. And the defenseman scowling at her from across the room? The one-night stand she wasn't supposed to see again. Good thing neither of them are looking for anything serious, right? Jackson may not be used to falling, but if he's going to go, he refuses to go alone. If he falls, he wants Lennon to fall with him. I am so excited. I also love the Playing for Keeps series, so although this one has been out, I have not gotten to it, so this one is also, again, high up on the priority list. The next book that I want to read is Zodiac Academy. I got the Zodiac Academy for Christmas this year, so I have like literally like the full thing. This one is written by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. This is Zodiac Academy #1. Although I want to read the whole series, I only put #1 on this list just to make it easier. And that one says, wow, you know what I just noticed? This one has a different back than what that one does. My book says something different, but I'm going to read what I screenshotted from Goodreads. And it says, you have been selected to attend Zodiac Academy, where your star sign defines your destiny. If you're one of the Fae, elemental magic is in your blood, and apparently it's in ours. As twins born in the month of Gemini, we're a rare breed, even in this academy of supernatural a-holes. Changelings were outlawed hundreds of years ago, but I guess our birth parents didn't get the memo, which means we're totally unprepared for the ruthless world of Fae, air, fire, water, earth. No one has ever harnessed all 4 of them until we arrived, and it hasn't made us any friends so far. As the rarest elementals ever known, we've already a threat to the 4 celestial heirs, the popular vindictive bullies who happen to be some of the hottest guys we've ever seen. It doesn't help that they're the most dangerous beasts in the academy, and probably on Earth too. Our fates are intertwined, but they want us gone. They've only got until the lunar eclipse to force us out, and they'll stop at nothing to succeed. We never knew we had a birthright to live up to, but now that we do, we intend to claim our throne. We can't expect any help from the faculty when it comes to defending ourselves. So if the dragon shifters want some target practice, the werewolves want someone to hunt, or the vampires fancy a snack, then we have time to be ready. We've been looking after each other for a long time and fighting back is in our blood. Today's horoscope, totally screwed. That is not at all what it says on the back of the book that I read in like my what I got for Christmas haul, but same thing, I guess. So I want to read that one. That series is, again, I get a series every year for Christmas, so it was Addicted Calloway Sisters, and then last year I got Throne of Glass series, and now this year I got Zodiac Academy, so we're excited for that one. Another book that I want to read this year is Taming Seven by Chloe Walsh, which is book number 5 in the Boys of Tommen series. This one is an epic and unforgettable love story in the international best-selling and TikTok phenomenon, the Boys of Tommen series from Chloe Walsh. She's the quintessential sunshine girl, he's the lovable class clown. But storm clouds are rolling in, and this Tommen boy is about to get serious. Tommen's cheekiest lad, Gerard Gibbsy Gibson, has always been a comedian, but most people don't see what lurks beneath the surface. He is haunted by events of the past, and he uses humor to cope, hiding his true self from the world. Claire Biggs is the epitome of sunshine, has always loved Gibbsy, her brother's best friend and her favorite neighbor. She has always seen a side to him that no one else seems to notice. She becomes determined to tame her wild at heart childhood best friend. When lines are crossed, it becomes unclear whether Gibbsy and Claire's friendship will survive. Will it blossom into something more, or will they lose themselves in the wild? I am really, really excited for this one. Gibbsy is my favorite. I have been so excited for his book, so really excited to finally get to it. And the next book that I want to read is Games Untold by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is part of the Inheritance Game collection. This one says, there is nothing frivolous about the way a Hawthorne man loves. An amnesiac playboy and the woman with every reason to hate him. A daredevil, his favorite heiress, and 3 nights in Prague. An unlikely pairing between a cowboy and a goth. 4 brothers with an inescapable bond, strengthened by the family they chose, in a house of wonders that promises to always deliver one more secret. Discover their stories of love and loss, power puzzles, and life and death secrets in this mind-blowing romantic collection that proves that when you love a way Hawthorne loves, there is no going back. So it's a bunch of little collections of novellas from the Inheritance Game, like people, so I'm really excited for that one. The next book that I want to read is The Grandest Game, also by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. However, this one is from the Grandest Game series, which I believe now that there's 2. I think there's 2 books released, unless the other one was just announced but not released yet. So let's start off with just The Grandest Game. Again, the Grandest Game series, it's book number 1. This one says, welcome to The Grandest Game, an annual competition run by billionaire Avery Grams and the 4 infamous Hawthorne brothers, whose family fortune she inherited. Designed to give anyone a shot at fame and fortune, this year's game requires one of 7 gold tickets to enter. With millions on the line, those 7 players will do whatever it takes to win. Some of the players are in it for their money, some for power, some for reasons all their own. Every single one of them has secrets. Amidst it all, Grace and Hawthorne tasked with a vital role in this year's game, but as tensions rise and mind-bending challenges push the players to their limits, physically, mentally, and emotionally, it soon becomes clear that not everyone is playing by the rules. A lot of people have loved this book. I've had it and I just haven't really gotten to it, so again, as I've been saying about all these other books that I really want to read, it's very high up on the priority list. I'm a huge Jennifer Lynn Barnes fan. I went to her book signing in New York, I believe it was like July or August, and it was so much fun, so I'm really, really excited to read this. Like I said before, I am a big Krista Beccarucci fan as well, and I am in the middle of reading the Like Us series, so I want to read Like Us number 5, which is Sinful Like Us. This one says, how can it be wrong if it feels so good? Dating an American princess comes with a massive amount of baggage, all of which I'm willing to carry, strapped on my back in quicksand and through 7 hills. Jane Cobalt's baggage I'm unprepared for. It comes in the form of her 5 equally famous and notoriously hard to please brothers. I want Jane, completely unconditionally. But when there's a trip scheduled that I can't be a part of, I only have one option. It's immoral, something I never considered until now. But hell, there's got to be some perks to being a twin, so I'm doing it. I'm switching places with my brother. Done and done. It should have been easy. There were little consequences until the storm hit. So there's Maximoff and Pharaoh, Jane and Thatcher, Maximoff and Pharaoh, Oscar and Jack, Akira and Sully. Oh, this doesn't even have all of them because there's way more than that. But this one is about Jane and Thatcher. So Jane is Connor and Rose's daughter, their oldest daughter, and then Thatcher was her bodyguard, who we already read about her before, but we're continuing on with that. I'm super excited for that one. That's the next one that I'll be reading. Next, I started Magnolia Parks, I believe earlier on last year. I didn't love it like everyone else did, but I have the second book and I want to continue on. So we have Magnolia Parks number 2 by Jessa Hastings, which is Daisy Hates. And this one says, all 20-year-old Daisy Hates has ever wanted is a normal life, but it's just not on the cards for her. Raised by her older brother Julian since their parents were murdered in front of them 12 years ago. Wow, okay. Daisy hasn't ever lived beyond the watchful gaze of her gang lord brother. Wow, okay. But Julian's line of work means that Daisy's life is complicated, and things don't become any less complex when she falls hard for Christian Hems, the beautiful and emotionally unavailable boy she's been involved with for the last few months. who also happens to be one of the few men in London who doesn't answer to Julian. Christian's life is no walk in the park either, being in love with his best friend's girlfriend and all. He's happy enough to use Daisy to throw off the scent of his true affections, that is, until she starts to infiltrate those two. As their romance blossoms into something neither were anticipating, Daisy, Christian, and Julian each have to come to terms with the fact that in life everything comes at a price. As their relationships intersect and tangle, they all learn that sometimes life's most worthwhile pursuits can only be paid in blood. I remember when I was reading Magnolia Parks, Cameron is a huge Magnolia Parks fan, that she said that I would probably like Daisy Hates more. So I'm excited to see if she's right on that. So we're going to give it a shot before I completely say like, it's not for me. So we will see. So I know Dirty Air series was like on everybody's TBR, and like I feel like everybody has read them except for me, but I'm finally going to get to it this year, and it's Throttled by Lauren Asher, which is Dirty Air #1. And this one says, Noah. Maya Alator is the sister of my teammate and my new obsession. Keeping my distance during the Formula One season should be easy, except I always find ways to see her. Press tours, pre-race rituals, sponsor events, and black tie galas. The more time we spend together, the stronger my desire grows. Sneaking around with her is one thing, but wanting more, never going to happen. She might be a distraction just like a daydream, but no woman is worth risking the championship title over, or so I thought. Maya. Noah Slade is a Formula One royalty and my brother's biggest rival. When I'm invited to join my sibling while he competes for the World Championship, I promise to avoid Noah at all costs. 21 races, 2 drivers who hate each other, and 1 forbidden attraction I can't ignore. Developing feelings for Noah wasn't part of my plan, but then again, neither was anyone finding out. Turns out the man I was warned about happens to be the one I can't stay away from, even if he breaks my heart once the season comes to an end. Super excited for that. Everyone talks about it. I have not read it. I don't know what it was. I just never picked it up. There were so many other books that I jumped to first, so I promise you we are going to read it this year. I have the first book. I don't have any other ones, but like we're going to read it. We're probably going to read the whole series, but I'm definitely going to read Throttled soon. I have a lot to read in January. Like a lot. We're putting things very high up in the priority list, and it feels like my TBR is literally going to be like this big. Next, I want to read Reckless by Lauren Roberts, which is Powerless #2. So I read Powerless, and then I read Powerful, which is the little like novellas at 1.5, and now I have had Reckless and I never picked it up. This was a book club read a couple of months ago. I can't remember what month, but I do really want to continue on with it. The kingdom of Isla is in turmoil. After surviving the purging trials, ordinary-born Peyton Gray has killed the king and kickstarted a resistance through the land. Now she's running from the only person she has ever wanted to run to. Kai, is it Azur? I think it's Azur, is now Isla's enforcer, loyal to his brother Kit, the new king. He has vowed to find Peyton and bring her to justice. Across the deadly scorches and deep into the hostile city of Dor, Kai pursues the one person he wishes he didn't have to. But in a city without Elise, the balance between the hunter and hunted shifts, and the battle between duty and desire is deadly, but swept away by this kiss-or-kill romantasy trilogy taking the world by storm. So excited. I can't wait. I feel like a lot of people talk about this book, and I've kind of tried to avoid everything that I possibly could about it, so we will see. I do have that book, so again, another one high up on the priority list. The next one is another Freida McFadden book. This one is called The Boyfriend. This one says, she's looking for the perfect man, he's looking for the perfect victim. Sydney Shaw, like every single woman in New York, has terrible luck with dating. She's seen men who lie in their dating profile, men who stick her with the dinner bill, and worst of all, men who can't shut up about their mothers. Finally, she hits the jackpot. Her new boyfriend is utterly perfect. He's charming, handsome, and works as a doctor at a local hospital. Sydney is swept off her feet. Then the brutal murder of a young woman, the latest in a string of deaths across the coast, confounds police. The primary suspect, a mystery man who dates his victim before he kills them. Sydney should feel safe. After all, she is dating the guy of her dreams, but she can't shake her own suspicions that the perfect man may not be as perfect as he seems, because someone is watching her every move, and if she doesn't get to the truth, she'll be the killer's next victim. Okay. I'm excited. It's gonna be good. Number 16 on my list is an oldie but a goodie, and something that I never got to that I'm surprised that I didn't read sooner, and that one is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I don't know what it is. I just really want to read it. So many people talk about it. I never read it. I feel like it's going to be good. If you don't know about that, I feel like I don't even know what year that this book was published, but it was forever and a half ago. So this one is The Hunger Games, and I'll just read you the back, even though a majority of people know what it's about. And it says, could you survive on your own in the wild, with everyone out to make sure that you don't live to see the morning? In the ruins of a place once known as North America lies the nation of Pan Am, a shining capital surrounded by 12 outlying districts. The capital is harsh and cruel and keeps the districts in line by forcing them to all send one boy and one girl between the ages of 12 and 18 to participate in the annual Hunger Games, a fight to the death on live TV. 16-year-old, she was only 16? Oh my gosh. Katniss Everdeen, who lives alone with her mother and a younger sister, regards it as a death sentence when she steps forward to take her sister's place in the games. but Katniss has been close to dead before, and survival for her is second nature. Without really meaning to, she becomes a contender. She is to win. She will have to start making choices that weigh survival against humanity and life against love. I gotta read it. Everybody reads it. Everybody has read it. I haven't ever picked it up. I'm going to read it this year. We're making it a priority. The next book that I want to read that's been on my TBR for so long and I just haven't gotten to is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, which is the Empyrean, I think is how you say it, #1. This one says, enter the brutal and elite world of a war college for dragon riders. 20-year-old Violet Sorrengail was supposed to enter the Scribe Project, living a quiet life among books and history. Now, the commanding general, also known as her toughest talent's mother, has ordered Violet to join the hundreds of candidates striving to become the elite of dragon riders. But when you're smaller than everyone else and your body is brittle, death is only a heartbeat away, because dragons don't bond to fragile humans. They incinerate them. With fewer dragons willing to bond than cadets, most would kill Violet to better their own chances of success. The rest would kill her just for being her mother's daughter. Like Xaden Ryerson? I think it's that. The most powerful and ruthless wing leader in the Riders' Quadrant. She'll need every edge her wits can give her just to see the next sunrise. Yet with every day that passes, the war outside grows more deadly, the kingdom's protective wards are falling, and the death toll continues to rise. Even worse, Violet begins to suspect leadership is hiding a terrible secret. Friends, enemies, lovers. Everyone at Basgate War College has an agenda, because once you enter, there are only two ways out. Graduate or die. Fun! So excited. Scary. Imagine if that was like real life? No. The next book is also a book that I've had on my TBR for a while, and that is a novel love story by Ashley Poston. This one says, a professor of literature finds herself caught up in a work of fiction, literally. Aylin Merriweather loves to get lost in a good happily ever after, the fictional kind anyway, because at least imaginary men don't leave you at the altar. She feels safe in a book, at home, which might be why she's so set on going to her annual book club retreat this year. She needs good friends, cheap wine, and grand romantic gestures, no matter what. But when her cart unexpectedly breaks down on the way, she finds herself stranded in a quaint town that feels like it's right out of a novel, because it is. This place can't be real, and yet she's here, in Ellerton, the town of her favorite romance series, where the candy store's honey taffy is always sweet, the local bar's burgers are always a little burnt, and the rain always comes in the afternoon. It feels like home. It's perfect, and perfectly frozen, trapped in the late author's last unfinished story. Elsie is sure that's why she must be here, to help bring the town to its storybook ending. Except there is a character in Ellerton, please, I hope I say I'm that right, that she can't place, a grumpy bookstore owner with mint green eyes, an irrationally sexy mouth, and impeccable taste in novels, and he does not want her finishing this book, which is a problem because Elsie's beginning to think that the town's happily ever after might just be intertwined with her own. I'm so excited. That's gonna be so good. I can't believe I haven't picked that up yet. I'm like, why do I keep doing that? I don't know. The next book that I want to read is by Rebecca Searle, and that is Expiration Dates, another book that I've had for a very long time and I just haven't picked it up. This one is about Daphne Bell, who believes that the universe has a plan for her. Every time she meets a man, she receives a slip of paper with his name and a number on it, the exact amount of time that they will spend together. The papers told her she'd spend 3 days with Martin in Paris, 5 weeks with Noah in San Francisco, and 3 months with Hugo, her ex-boyfriend turned best friend. Daphne has been receiving these numbered papers for over 20 years, always wondering then there might be one without an expiration. Finally, the night of a blind date at her favorite Los Angeles restaurant, there's only a name, Jake. But as Jake and Daphne's story unfolds, Daphne finds herself doubting the paper's prediction and wrestling with what it means to be both committed and truthful, because Daphne knows what Jake doesn't, information that, if he found out, would break his heart. Told with her signature warmth and insight into matters of the heart, Rebecca Searle has finally set her sights on romantic love. This one's like literally gonna break my heart. All of her books like break my heart, but they're also so good, so we'll see. The next book, and books technically, that I want to read, although I said that I wasn't gonna put multiple books, it's technically a tandem read, so are we gonna count it as 2 books or are we gonna count it as 1? I know it's gonna count as 2 on Goodreads, but we're calling it 1 because I'll be reading them together. And that is Empire Storms and Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. That is the next up in the Throne of Glass reading series thing that I am doing. If you don't know, I have a whole playlist and on my channel and videos dedicated to each book that I have been reading so far of the Throne of Glass series. Full spoiler reading vlogs. I can't do reading vlogs, let alone those kinds of reading vlogs without there being spoilers. So if you've read it and you are interested in my take on it, go ahead and head over to that. I think that they're kind of interesting. I'm not going to jump into those and read what those ones are about. It's just the continuation of that story. I don't want to ruin it for everybody because that one is literally like so big. So I know I'm not doing it. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not telling you what those are about. The next book that I want to read is Indigo Ridge by Devoney Perry, and that is the Edens #1. I've had Indigo Ridge for a while now and just haven't picked it up. But this one is about Winslow Covington believing in life, liberty, and the letter of the law. As Quincy, Montana's new chief of police, she's determined to prove herself to the community and show them she didn't earn her position because her grandfather is the mayor. According to her pops, all she has to do is earn favor with the Edens, but winning over the town's founding family might have been easier if not for her one-night stand with their oldest son. Her defense, it was her first night in town, and she didn't realize that the rugged and charming man who wooed her into bed was Quincy royalty. Sleeping with Griffin Eden was a huge mistake, one she's trying to forget. He's insufferable, arrogant, and keeps reminding everyone that she's an outsider. Winslow does her best to avoid Griffin, but when a woman is found dead on Eden property, the two of them have no choice but to cross paths. As clues to the murder lead to one of Quincy's own, Griffin realizes Winslow is more than he gave her credit for. Beautiful and intelligent, she proves hard to resist for him and the killer. Super exciting. I don't know. I just haven't picked it up yet. I've been in the middle of a series and everything like that, so it just hasn't happened. Next, I want to read another one. It's the first book of a series that I have not started yet. Is Monsters and Muses #1 by Savvar Miller, which is Promises and Pomegranates, and this one is about Dr. Cal Anderson assumes his heart worked at some point in his life, but at 32 years old, the organ in his chest seems to play a mechanical role at best. His cold and motionless existence gives him an edge as a fixer and an in-house physician for the mafia, while his judgment is impartial and complication-free, until Elena, is it Ricky? His boss's 20-year-old daughter. After admiring the heartless doctor from afar most of her life, Elena catches him in the moment of weakness, and the pair shares a night of passion as they attempt to work each other from their systems. Only the night seems to have the opposite effect. Elena is no longer a simple temptation for Cal, but a necessity, an obsession, one he won't let anyone stand in his way of, even if that means crashing her wedding for another man, forcing her hand in marriage, and stealing her away to the corrupt island he resides on. Oh my god, what? Alone with the man of her nightmares for the first time ever, Elena starts to chip away at the layers of ice surrounding his hardened heart, but the warmth and depravity from her new husband may not have been worth the secrets unveiled, or the lives that will forever be altered. Inspired by Hades and Persephone, which I think all of them are, but I don't know what the other ones are really about. Interesting. Next, Locke by Kate Stewart, which is Ravenhood #1. This one says, can you keep a secret? I grew up sick. Let me clarify. I grew up believing that real-life love stories include a martyr or demand great sacrifice to be worthy. Because of that, I believed it. Because I made myself believe it, and I bred the most masochistic of romantic hearts, which resulted in my illness. When I lived this story, my own twisted fairy tale, it was unbeknownst to me that at the time, because I was young and naive, I gave in to temptation and fed the beating beast, which grew thirstier with every slash, every strike, every blow. Triple Falls wasn't at all what it seemed, nor were the men that swept me under their wing. But in order to keep them, I had to be in on their secrets. Secrets that cost us everything to keep. That's a novelty of fiction versus reality. You can't believe your own love story, because at the time you realize you're living it, it's over. At least that was the case for me and the men I trusted my foolish heart to. Looking back, I'm convinced I willed my story into existence due to my illness, and all were punished. I don't know. I heard that it's really good, so we're gonna read it. Next is Good Girl Bad Blood by Holly Jackson, which is a Good Girl's Guide to Murder #2. I read this one, I believe it was a book club read. Yes, it was a book club read. And I bought all the other books because I loved it, and then I never picked it up. So we have it. We're gonna read it. This one says, Pip is not a detective anymore. With the help of Ravi Singh, I believe that's how you say his name, she released a true crime podcast about the murder case they solved together last year. The podcast has gone viral, yet Pip insists her investigating days are behind her. But she will have to break that promise when someone she knows goes missing. Jamie Reynolds has disappeared. On the very same night, the town hosted a memorial for the 6th-year anniversary of the deaths of Andy Bell and Sal Singh. And if they won't look for Jamie, then Pip will, uncovering more of their town's dark secrets along the way. And this time, everyone is listening. But will she find him before it's too late? I believe so, but we'll see. And finally, the last book on this list is one they probably wouldn't have thought, but I want to read The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold, I believe is how you say it. Sebold? I don't know. This one says, my name was Salmon, like the fish, first name Susie. I was 14 when I was murdered on December 6, 1973. So begins the story of Susie Salmon, who is adjusting to her new home in heaven. A place that is not at all what she expected, even as she is watching life on Earth continue without her. Her friends trading rumors about her disappearance, her killer trying to cover his tracks, her grief-stricken family unraveling. Out of unspeakable tragedy and loss, The Lovely Bones succeeds miraculously in building a tale filled with hope, humor, suspense, and even joy. I watched the movie, I loved it. The book has been on my TBR for like ever, and I just haven't picked it up, so that's, again, another one very, very high up on the priority list, so we will see. There's a lot of books that I want to read, a lot of series that I want to read, and my goal for this year is to read a lot of what I do have and try and get through all of my physical books, or at least a very, very good portion of it, because I'm one of those people that buys the entire series, literally the entire Zodiac Academy, before I even read the first book. and I have to stop doing that. So those are 25 books that I want to read in 2025. They're not like the only books that I want to read, but they're ones that are very, very high up on the to-do list. Also, as I said earlier on in the video, even though I said the first book of each series, there are a lot of those books that I want to finish the entire series. Like right off the bat, like I know that I'm loving the Like Us series, and although I only put book number 5 on there, I do want to continue it and finish that series. So right there alone is like 7 books. So we'll see. I do read about like 80-ish plus books for the year, so I feel like I'll be able to do this, but we'll see. So that brings this video to an end. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all next time. Bye!